Hi, welcome back to my channel, Dolls in Bloom. Again, I'm Jess, and we are continuing the journey of painting Flynn, working on his arms and legs. I was painting his other set of limbs and chatting away to you guys, and I was almost completely done, and I looked up to see how long the painting had gone and realized that I hadn't been recording that whole time. So yeah, that's insane. So I was reassuring you guys that we don't let our rabbit and our cat usually play. It was just an accident that he was allowed out while the cat was out. We put the cat away. He either goes in my room or sometimes he goes into the dog crate, which I know that sounds horrid, but he loves it. He'll kick the dog out of her crate and take the bed, which she's fine with. She'd rather sleep on the floor in the living room than in her bed. So they're both happy that he takes the bed, and that's fine. I was also saying that we do have, so most of the time the rabbit does have a fairly large indoor rabbit hutch in my daughter's room. Well, my daughters, they share a room. And then outside we have a pen that he goes into. He can't go into that alone. Somebody has to be outside with him. But he does spend his time outside. He does wander around in either her room or the whole house. And like when he's out in the whole house, like I said, we put the cat up. It was just a one-time thing where my youngest let him out and didn't tell anyone that she let him out, and that's how he got the little injury. It wasn't super severe. It did look a lot scarier than it was, and just because he's my daughter oldest is special, her baby basically, she was devastated. I mean, we were all kind of worried because he's a rabbit and he's so tiny. And you know, any type of injury like that, especially to the smaller animals, can seriously set them back. But it has not stopped him or fazed him. He's continued to explore and be the same bunny he's always been, which is really, really good. I'm glad that, you know, he hasn't been affected that deeply by the injury. So like I said, outside we do have a large pen, outside play pen, I guess you would call it, for him, that he plays in. We do have to be outside with him because we live in an area where there are a lot of wildlife. There are several birds of prey in our area, such as we have a pelican falcon, we have the red-tailed hawk and the red-shouldered hawk both live in the area. We have osprey, which is another type of bird of prey. They usually eat fish for the most part, but they will eat wildlife such as rabbits and squirrels and chipmunks. We also have turkey vultures. They usually do eat food animals that have already been deceased, but they will also hunt on occasion. And then we have bobcat in the area, and coyote, and black bear. So it's a fairly well populated area that has several different kinds of wildlife that you don't necessarily want to leave alone with a tiny little bunny. So for his safety and security, he only goes outside when there's going to be somebody in the yard to sit with him. Even though most of these animals will not hunt during the day, the birds of prey do. And I've been outside and seen a hawk come very close to where he is, and that's with us being outside. So we have to be right where he is when he's out. He does also roam in my daughter's room when they're in the bedroom with him. He can't be out by himself because he'll chew on wires and stuff, and just get under things and get into trouble. It's like a little kid. But yeah. But he is also the definition of what a snuggle bunny would be. I mean, he will come up and sit next to people and let them pet them. He likes having attention given to you. He doesn't want to be picked up and held, because that's not something a rabbit really enjoys having happened. But he will let you pet him. He will sit in your lap very happily, as long as you're not washing him or cutting his fingernails. Then he's not too happy with you. I think that sums up our animals, our cat, dog, and rabbit. And having all these animals and working at being able to go to the farm, which we don't live on a farm, we live in an apartment complex. But being able to do that and have these experiences really help with my development, but also the educational purposes. A lot of it for the homeschooling, the things you learn on a farm, you see science and nature in action versus just reading it from a book. I mean, unfortunately, you do see life, both good and bad. This year on the farm, one of the horses had a baby. It's a colt, which is a boy, in case you don't know. Horse, he is about a month old, so at this point in time, they are like getting him used to being around people. They'll put a little baby halter on him and like brush him up, pet him, just get him used to being around, so that, you know, it takes less time to train him when the time comes to actually train him for riding. But also, unfortunately, at the farm you'll see different things. One of the older horses passed away this year, so that's something that the kids saw. Last year they lost a very young pony, and their older dog. So they see both life and death, the beginning and ending of life, in real time. And and yes, dealing with that can be difficult when you're a little kid, but it helps them learn how to deal with it later on if they have a good grasp of, part of life is that there's death. And as sad and unfortunate as it is, it happens. And unfortunately, those of us who are left behind have to figure out how to pick up the pieces and move on from that death. So there's some really good life lessons that they get at the farm, and by having all these animals. Like, as cute and cuddly and fun as our cat is, he's still a cat. And even though he's not necessarily trying to hurt the rabbit, he's a cat, and the cat's nature says rabbit is food. So while he's been brought up with the rabbit, it's not a great idea to leave him alone with the rabbit, or to let him out have him out with the rabbit at the same time. So that about sums up my painting for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please come back and watch some more. Talk to you another time. See you again. Bye.